Courtney Lynn. So I'm going to try to talk louder and hopefully you can actually hear me in this video. I had some sound issues last time. So for anybody who follows me on Facebook, the last week has been kind of interesting. For those of you who don't, basically I went in for my 20-week anatomy scan at just my regular doctor's office. Excuse me. And I saw a different doctor because, like I said, there's no like guarantee who I'm going to see, who's going to deliver the baby. So they kind of have you see like all different people. So the one guy had gotten really good reviews, and so I was like, oh, I requested to see him this time. So as soon as he came in, he's like, oh, I heard we had some excitement at the beginning of the pregnancy. And I kind of like looked at him blankly, and he was like, your NT scan results. And I was like, oh, yeah. It's like, yeah, I've been trying not to think about it, yada, yada. And then this is something that I have kept to myself. I didn't even mention it to Jason, my husband, until like a week before this anatomy scan. But when we got the gender scan done, they did some measurements of, you know, the head and the abdomen and the femur. And when they measured the femur, it was in the less than 2 percentile. And as far as like the dates, it was measuring almost 2 weeks behind. And but there was like an average range of from this many weeks to this many weeks that I should be in. And it was in those weeks, but it was in the less than 2 percentile. So I'm like, well, is it bad or is it okay? And you know, I've read all these things on the internet about you know, a shortened femur being Down syndrome marker. So between my NT result of 1 in 68 chance of Down syndrome, and then I had that, I didn't mention it to anybody. I just kind of kept it to myself because I didn't really want to think about it, and I was trying not to panic. So anyways, at my last just regular checkup appointment, I think it was on January 2nd, I mentioned to the midwife that measurement had been small at my gender scan. So she was like, sure, it's no big deal. Like I said, you know, I'm not really tall, neither is Jason, so I'm hoping she's just kind of short, whatever. Plus, at that point, when I had my gender scan, I was 15 weeks and 4 days. So I wasn't, she wasn't like proportionate yet. She was still, I mean, she's still growing, obviously, but she was still having like growth spurts of where it wasn't really, everything was kind of even out yet. So, he had read that in my chart, and my appointment was on the 17th, though, so Thursday. And as soon as he came in, excuse me, sorry, I just ate. As soon as I came in, he basically was like, because of these two things, because of the femur length and because of your NT result, I think you should go get a level 2 ultrasound done at the hospital, so we can check for a heart defect. He's like, I'd rather know, you know, if the baby has Down syndrome, I'd rather know that there's a heart condition and know what we're looking for, rather than she's born and is blue and gets whisked away to Children's Hospital and who knows from there. And I agree. So, I think he's like a better safe than sorry doctor. I kind of think I know why people don't like to see guy doctors now, because as far as everyone that I've seen, he was very like, this is how it is, and didn't try to like sugarcoat anything, I guess, which is fine, but he was like just very rough with the information, I guess. Just very like I said to him, I showed him the little measurement, and I said, you know, well, it says it's in the average. And he's like, no. He's like, it's less than 2 percentile. This is abnormal. And just very like, okay, dude, I get it. Like, I'm the one that brought it to your attention. But, not very comforting or reassuring. So, when we were there, he said, well, my sister went with me because she wanted to see baby. And, he goes, well, since you're here, I'll go ahead and show you baby real quick. He's like, but I'm not going to do like the full scan or anything. And so he pulled her up, and of course she was being difficult because that's what she does. And he did measure the femur, and he said it was in the 3 percentile, but that was the only measurement he did, was just the one femur. And he's like, yeah, it is still measuring short. And then he looked at the heart, and from what he could see from like the regular ultrasound, he said everything else on the heart looks perfect. I'm sorry, there's this one hair that's driving me nuts. There we go. Okay. He's like, everything else on the heart looks perfect, but there's that one little spot that is known to have defects with people who have Down syndrome that we can't see on this ultrasound. You need the level 2 for. He's like, so they'll be able to see that and everything. So, long story short, he called and scheduled the ultrasound, and my ultrasound was today, and I have been freaking out. Like I've said previously, I'm not really a worrier, but just the way he said everything, basically, like he made it sound like your baby has Down syndrome and we're gonna see if it has a heart defect. Like that's just, I don't know. So I've been freaking out and praying a lot. And I'm pretty sure between my mom and everyone else, there was a small army praying for her. So that's good. And it definitely paid off. So scan was today. She was being difficult. She is breached this time, which is the first time she's been head down in most of the other ones. I think in the gender scan she did flip all around a bunch of times, but she said it's not a big deal. She'll move around. So she was breached, and she had her spine out like this way. So her face was like facing my back. And so she couldn't get the shot of the heart that she needed, but she got all the other measurements that she needed, and everything was measuring small. And I noticed this, I think it was Sunday, I picked up the little, it was like a little printed out ultrasound thing from the gender scan, and I was looking at all the other measurements, and I'm like, well, they're all like, one was 18th percentile, one was 22 percentile. And the only thing that was like higher was her abdomen was 60th percentile. So I'm like, overall, she's not, everything else is kind of measuring small too. So it's not like it's just her femur. So I started to feel a little bit better once I saw that. So she took all the measurements, and she's small. She's just a small baby. I'm 21 weeks and 2 days today. And I think the highest measurement we got for any of them, I wish I would have just taken a picture. I thought it was going to be on my CD of all the like percentiles for all the different measurements. But they added more pictures once the doctor came in, and I don't know if I don't know what happened, but I didn't get all the pictures. I did get some really good pictures, but I don't have the all the percentiles and measurements and stuff, but they were all small. When the ultrasound tech took the measurement of her femur, she got 19 weeks and 6 days, and then when the doctor did it, she got 19 weeks and 3 days. So it was 12th percentile, and then with the smaller one, it was 6th percentile. So it is bigger than it was, but everything else is within that. I don't think anything was over 20th percentile. They were all, she's small all over. So I'm okay with that. The range as far as like the dates, some of it, I don't think anything was 18 weeks. Maybe, I feel like maybe one thing was, but it was all like 19 weeks and some day, however many days, up to I think 20 weeks and 6 days, or 20 weeks and 5 days was like the highest measurement, and I think that was the abdomen again. So that is good news. So she, the shots were kind of blurry, and she couldn't get what she needed, and then we had to wait a while between the tech finishing her part and the doctor coming in, and she was like, hopefully she'll move while we're waiting, and we can get like a better shot. Well, we were sitting there, and I think I like leaned forward. She had my pants pushed down like really low, and I felt her kick, like, right where the band of my pants was, like, get this off me, because she hates, like, being constricted at all. So I'm like, ooh, like, she kicked, so I kind of moved and, like, leaned back so it wasn't, like, pressing on her. And the doctor comes in, puts the wand on, and it's, like, the most amazing shot ever. It's so clear. She does a couple, like, profile shots, and she does a couple little measurements. And then I'm guessing she still couldn't get the heart right, the right heart shot, because we're coming back in a month to do that. But she got this picture of her face straight on. And this was not a 3D ultrasound. This was just a basic ultrasound. Like, it's the level 2, but it's not, it definitely was not like any of the, like, 3D ultrasounds I've seen. But she puts it on her face, and it is, like, this amazing face shot. I'll actually put the picture in right here, because it's just, I was shocked. But here it is. So yeah, I'm like, she's so pretty. So, the doctor proceeds then to tell me that she sees absolutely nothing that worries her. She sees nothing in the ultrasound that leads her to believe that the baby has Down syndrome whatsoever. She had the tech. Some of you might know what I'm talking about. I'd never heard of this before. It's some, like, program where they put in all the numbers and all the measurements and stuff, and then based on that give you, like, a percentage of like, of the baby having Down syndrome or of something being wrong, basically. Jason thought it was, like, the percentile of her, like, weight or whatever, but that's not what it was. So anyway, she had her do that, and she came back in, and she basically, it didn't flag at all for the possibility of Down syndrome, and I think she said it was a 91% chance that the baby doesn't have Down syndrome. So that's good. But she basically was like, everything looks perfect. She's a small baby. She said, I'm going to have you come back in a month just so we can see if we can get the, the good shots of her heart, just to make absolutely sure. And then I think also just to monitor, because she is small, just to make sure that there's not, like, growth restrictions or anything like that. So yeah, I'm so excited, and I'm so relieved and so happy. It's amazing. One thing that I totally forgot to mention in my last video, and I can't even believe that I forgot about it, but I can feel her move now. I think it was, I can't remember. I'll put a little, like, annotation of what date it was that I, like, for sure knew that it was her moving. But it was probably, like, I mean, it was only, like, 3 or 4 days before I made my last video. So that's why I'm like, I can't believe that I forgot, because it was literally, like, right then. So, I had thought I felt her move previously, and it literally, it felt like someone, like, flicking like that, like, flicking the inside of my stomach. And I'm like, isn't it supposed to feel like a flutter? Like, everyone talks about these flutters, and I didn't feel anything that felt like fluttery. A few times it felt like someone flicking the inside of my stomach, and only when I would lie, like, really still, like, on the couch or something. And so the one day, she, like, moved or kicked or did something, and I was like, whoa, like, that was her. That was 100% her moving. And then from then on, I've felt it, like, little bits here and there, and clearly as it goes, I'm feeling her more and more. But yeah, it's definitely an everyday thing, and usually during the day when I'm, like, moving around and stuff, I don't really feel her. But in the evening, when I'm just kind of, like, sitting around for the night, that's when I really feel her a lot. Squeeze me. We had celebratory Taco Bell. So, yay! As far as symptoms, everything's kind of been the same. I have had heartburn, but really not that bad. And like I said before, as long as I don't eat garlic, I'm perfectly fine. Yesterday I made the mistake of eating ravioli, like Chef Boyardee ravioli, which I knew, but literally that was, like, all that sounded good. And I knew I was going to be sorry. I knew that it was, my stomach was gonna hurt afterwards. But it was so good, and like right after I ate it, I was just like that really satisfied feeling. And then like an hour later, I'm like, why did I do this? But basically anything I can put Parmesan cheese on, I want it. I've been eating ramen noodles like it's my job, which is ridiculous. Yeah, French fries and ramen noodles, that's real healthy. But that's been my kick. Sorry, I feel like I can't breathe. My nose is still not sick still, but it's just back to not being able to breathe at all. So, I think that is it. I might put a couple more little shots of her at the end of this. And then, if anybody wants to follow me on Facebook, like I said, I do a lot more updates there. So if you go to my page, like view my profile, it'll be over on the right hand side. And I think there's just like a little link there. Or if you search Courtney Lynn, spelled like my screen name on here, just Courtney Lynn. If you search that, you should be able to find me. So I believe that's it. She's also saying goodbye because she just kicked me. So, let me show you my belly really quick. I'm wearing the shirt that makes me look pregnant. Okay, so here's side shot. My pants digging into me. Yeah, this shirt, I have a couple of them in like a couple different colors. But I bought these. Oh man, really looks like it there. I bought these, that's my finger, when I was like starting to work out, and they're literally like $4 shirts from Walmart. And yeah, they were great for like working out and stuff. And who knew that they also end up being the most comfortable shirts while I was pregnant. Of course, they're not very long, so I'm thinking I'm not going to be able to wear it for much longer, but it's whatever. So that is it. Thank you for everyone who prayed and who was thinking about us today. We really, really appreciate it. And I will see you all later. Bye.